This is Maria. Maria is 84 years old, and for 3 years there was a mural on her wall. You know, windmills and tulips, and a fake Holland, really. But at least one that acknowledged she was still alive. And then the fire department arrived. Not to put out the fire, or not because something was burning, but because theoretically one day something might burn. So the government removed the only colorful thing in her room. Because in our system, risk is not allowed. Despair and loneliness is. So now Maria stares at the white wall, and there is no appeal, no debate, and no minister to explain it to her. Just a rule. You know, a checklist and a signature. So if she dies while looking at it, then at least she will die safely. You know, this is not a broken compassion. This is how compassion works now. And if that seems uncomfortable, good. It means you're still paying attention. Because we like to tell ourselves that this is an unfortunate side effect, but it isn't. This wall exists because people like us constantly choose systems that remove responsibility and call it professionalism. So no, this is not a sad story about an elder care. This is a preview of today's episode. So let's meet the people who made sure all of this was completely legal. After months of negotiation, which in political language means paying them not to work, the Netherlands finally has a government. February 23rd. Mark your calendars. It's called a unity government, which in Dutch means none of us like each other, but we all like our paychecks. So Rob Jetten became prime minister. A man whose structural integrity is like a top-quality IKEA shelf. It looks good, but it can't hold anything heavy. One unexpected move and the whole thing collapses. Anyway, let's look at the distribution and see how it works. D66 gets housing, education and climate. Every crisis they promised to solve since 2014, but did not. The VVD gets finance and defense because if there is one thing they love more than tanks, it's preventing us from affording a normal existence. And finally, the CDA gets immigration and foreign affairs. A party with less support than a wet floor sign is now guarding our borders. Cool. This is not a government. This is a risk management with ministerial titles. And if you're waiting for someone to stop this, so am I. Unity does not come for free. That's why the coalition introduced the Austerity for Growth program, which means that if you haven't found a job in 365 days in a booming economy of thuisbezorgd cyclists, then you obviously don't want to work hard enough. So basically your unemployment benefits have been reduced to 1 year. And here comes the best invention, the freedom contribution. By freezing tax brackets, the government quietly takes €425 per household per year. You know, €425 a year doesn't sound dramatic, and that's why it works. It's small enough that you won't riot, but big enough that someone will skip medication, and quiet enough that no one will resign over it. This isn't theft. They take the money so quietly that no one feels robbed, right? And you can ask where this €425 goes. To defense. We call it freedom contribution, because mandatory tank subscription sounded a bit too honest. And notice how this always works. When the language gets softer and softer, your bill gets harder and harder. And that's not an accident. That's a branding. And how about healthcare deductible? From €385 to €460. Brilliant health policy. If you can't afford treatment, you simply won't be sick anymore, right? It's that simple. Nothing to see here. And retirement? As average life expectancy increases, so does the retirement age. So the longer science keeps you alive, the longer the state demands your labor. So put this simply, it's a race between your heart and the Bureau of Statistics. But hey, do you want to retire early? I have something for you. Start to smoke, start to drink alcohol, use drugs, eat nothing but deep-fried bitterballen, and die at 66. It's the only way to win. And this is where the system really shows its creativity. Because officially on paper, many of the people now struggling are actually doing great, at least according to the spreadsheet. In the Netherlands, people are standing in line at food banks with €500,000 houses behind them. So welcome to the Dutch poverty paradox. Here you can be rich on paper and poor in real life. You know, you live in Utrecht in a brick gold mine, but after energy bills, taxes and freedom, there's nothing left for bread. No savings, no buffer, just walls. This system only works as long as homeowners stay quiet and don't make too much noises and hope this is temporary. But it isn't. This isn't a phase. This is the new baseline. The government sees wealth, but you see a foundation you can't eat. Faced with this, governments usually do one of two things. They fix the system, or they fix the appearance of stability. Guess which one we chose. And when a system is exposed like this, there is a favorite move. Sandra Palmen, the woman who exposed the childcare subsidy scandal, is now deputy minister. Her job is to fix the system that tried to destroy her. You know, it's like appointing a Titanic survivor as CEO of icebergs. That's what we are doing now, instead of fixing things. We are lifting up the survivors and calling it justice, but the only problem is the ship is still underwater. And this isn't an exception, it's the model. When systems fail loudly, they don't change how they work, they change how they look. Which brings us to our favorite kind of progress. We return a 3,500-year-old looted statue to Egypt. We are very proud of this. We do not support looting, except when it's done by freezing tax standards and unrealized gains. Then it's just responsible governance. Complaints about discrimination have increased by 30%, the police are in hiding, local governments are boycotting their own officials. So we no longer live together. Now we just manage the tension professionally. We erase the murals, we raise the retirement age and buy tanks. But let's not to forget Maria. Maria is still staring at the wall, but now it is fire safe, it is clean, it is efficient. Once you see this pattern, you notice it everywhere.